Next time the police actually come, he's supposed to get terminated, like completely.
That she was gonna like hurt me if she sees anyone else come in my apartment.
What happened? What happened? What happened? What happened? Listen to me, please. Please. Back up. Please. What the fuck?
The morning sun in this seemingly quiet residential complex is about to be eclipsed by a volatile confrontation. Our teaser opens with a chaotic exchange of words, a precursor to a legal storm. A male voice, trembling with a mix of fear and indignation, warns of an impending termination of residency. Suddenly, the audio is pierced by a woman's frantic pleas. What happened? A voice echoes as the camera shakes, capturing the frantic energy of a scene spiraling out of control. On July 30th, 2025, just after 10 a.m., the mundane routine of the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office is shattered by a priority call. Officers are dispatched to a reported battery involving a weapon. The initial report suggests a neighbor-to-neighbor dispute that has escalated far beyond mere words. As the first responding officer pulls up, the rhythmic clicking of the patrol car's turn signal sets a heartbeat for the unfolding drama. Officer Miller approaches the female subject, identified later as Miss Roberts. She is pacing, her movements jerky, radiating a high level of nervous energy, what Leos often classify as a volatile emotional state. She immediately launches into a defensive narrative, denying the act of banging on windows, claiming instead she was merely striking her own walls. Notice the officer's tactical positioning. He keeps a safe distance while maintaining a clear line of sight to her hands, a standard procedure when a weapon has been mentioned in a dispatch call. Robert's story is a complex tapestry of grievances. She speaks of crackheads swarming the yard, a perceived invasion of her sanctuary. The tension in her voice rises as she describes her $6,000 French bulldog and a perceived attempt to steal the animal using a dog bowl as a lure. She details a deep descriptive account of cold water versus hot water, using logic to build her case of attempted pet theft. From a psychological perspective, she is trauma dumping on the officer, attempting to establish herself as the victim of a larger conspiracy involving her neighbor and his company. The officer remains stoic, his silence a tactical tool to allow the subject to speak freely, potentially revealing inconsistencies in her story. Leaving the female subject under the watchful eye of his partner, the officer moves to the rear of the building to interview the complainant. Here, the narrative shifts drastically. The male victim appears visibly shaken, pointing to a fresh, bleeding injury near his eye. He describes a different reality, a persistent campaign of harassment by Roberts that culminated in a physical non-compliance event. He alleges that when he attempted to de-escalate the situation by knocking on her door to talk, she emerged aggressively, wielding what he describes as a wooden or metal stick. The officer meticulously examines the injuries, welts on the arms, a lacerated brow. This is crucial for establishing probable cause. Under Florida law and general U.S. LEO standards, visible injuries corroborated by a victim's statement provide a strong legal foundation for an arrest. But the stakes get higher. The victim then introduces a firearm into the equation. He claims Roberts didn't just strike him. She brandished a weapon, lifting her shirt to reveal a handgun tucked into her waistband. This elevates the incident from a simple battery to aggravated assault with a firearm, a high-level felony. The officer offers medical assistance, but the victim is focused on one thing: justice. He wants to move forward with prosecution, setting the wheels of the legal system in motion. The investigation now enters a critical phase, looking for an independent witness to break the he said, she said deadlock. The officer finds a young neighbor who was present during the heat of the moment. While the witness didn't see the actual strike with the stick, his testimony provides a corroborating acoustic link. He recounts hearing the victim shout, "What, are you going to shoot me?" This verbal evidence is vital. In tactical investigations, hearing a threat of a firearm can be just as legally significant as seeing the weapon itself, as it reflects the victim's immediate apprehension of death or great bodily harm. The witness describes a scene of persistent aggression from the female subject, noting that the victim was trying to retreat while she continued to advance. At this point, the legal threshold for probable cause has been surpassed. The officers confer, their professional jargon hushed but decisive. They have a victim with fresh injuries, a consistent statement, and a witness who heard the mention of a firearm. The decision is made. A tactical intervention is required to secure the scene and place the suspect into custody. The atmosphere shifts from inquiry to enforcement. "You're being placed under arrest," the officer states with a calm but firm authority. The reaction is instantaneous. Robert's psychological defenses crumble, replaced by a frantic cycle of denial and pleading. "Why? Why? Please don't take me to jail," she cries, her voice hitting a fever pitch of desperation. This is a classic arrest-induced crisis, seen frequently in body cam footage. The officer maintains a professional demeanor, instructing her to put your hands together like you're praying, a tactical command designed to facilitate the application of handcuffs without a struggle. As the metal ratchets tighten on her wrists, the reality of the situation begins to sink in. A female officer is called to perform a search incident to arrest. During this process, Roberts admits to having mace in her bra, but continues to vehemently deny the existence of a firearm or the use of a stick. The search is meticulous, ensuring no contraband or weapons enter the secured transport vehicle. Despite her pleas and the claim that this is not fair, the legal process is unyielding. The officer explains the concept of a felony and how corroboration works, attempting to provide clarity amidst her emotional chaos. The final segment of the encounter takes place inside the patrol vehicle and at the booking station. Roberts continues her verbal resistance, pivoting her strategy to blame the victim, claiming he attacked her first. However, as the officer points out, these allegations were not raised during the initial consensual encounter, casting doubt on their authenticity. The officer's explanation of probable cause is a masterclass in legal communication. She clarifies that as an officer, she doesn't need a conviction level of proof to make an arrest, only a threshold of evidence that a crime likely occurred. Robert's transition from anger to deep sorrow is palpable. She speaks of her hard work, her possessions, and the fear that this arrest will dismantle her life. It is a stark reminder of the long-term consequences of a few minutes of uncontrolled rage. As she is transported to the main jail, the screen displays the formal charges: aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, and aggravated assault with a firearm. The video concludes with the standard legal disclaimer, reminding viewers of the presumption of innocence. This case serves as a visceral example of how quickly neighbor disputes can escalate into life-altering legal battles when physical non-compliance becomes the chosen path of conflict resolution.